Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Your favorite spot, yes, my place, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Today we have the wonderful, amazing, beautiful Lorna Carlson. Lorna is a woman veteran. Okay, Brains, let's give her her flowers right now. She survived being victimized. We're going to talk about the alarming suicide rate among female veterans, military assault, how that is overlooked and underserved, the trauma to the nervous system, and what she's doing with Denver wellness community to turn that around and support women that have really been victimized. So let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Lorna?
I'm doing well, April. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad for you to be with us. Your nickname is Cookie.
Yes, it
Why do they
is.
call you Cookie? Because you're sweet?
That's why. Yeah,
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
sure. Let's see. Originally from the Chicago area and have traveled the world and the United States. Right now, I live in Colorado. I am a female veteran, also a previous public school teacher, and love to help other people. I have and yeah, I love to help other people, and that's why I founded Denver Wellness.
Well, being a woman veteran, let's dial back on that for a minute because I used to work, well, my husband's retired military, but I used to work on the base, the Marine Corps base. And I tell you, it takes courage to be a woman in the military, to be a person in the military. I would have went AWOL. You get to hollering in my face and making me work and eat MR, what is that? The rations. I don't know. I would have went AWOL. So
Yeah,
thank you for your service. What part of the military did you serve and what was your function?
sure. I served in the U.S. Army, and my function after training was a finance specialist. So I worked in the office and helped with pay, bonuses, and anything related to finance.
So like separation pay or combat pay or all of those
Yes.
things, you put those together? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever see any action?
No, I did not. However, I was stationed in Germany. So I was overseas at a duty station. And so I did get to experience that in a form, which was definitely a lesson beyond what a classroom could teach.
And I say this with love. It's a little snarky, but I say this with love. So you kind of had a pencil pusher kind of chick job.
I did.
Okay. And the reason why I say that is because people don't really realize the value of what you brought to the table. If they didn't get paid, there was going to be mutiny. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also a certain kind of expectation. You know, they figure, oh, this is a cushy job because she's in the office. She really hasn't seen combat. But you still have to interact with the hierarchy, with the people that are on the field. You also have to be very sensitive to their needs because they've got to get these resources back to their families. They've got to have allotments set up. They may have medical pay, combat pay, or they're hurt. So you have a very, very high functioning job.
Yes. It was very high functioning.
Okay.
So, and I did meet lots of different people, and uh, there was big expectations on excellence, I'll say.
Okay. All right. So you still had to answer to the hierarchy and you found yourself in a very precarious situation. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Sure. Well, uh, like I said, I was in the Army and I went in right after high school. So I was 18 years old. And my first duty station in Germany, being a female, and at that time, 1980s, there wasn't as many females as there is now. There was harassment of different sorts. In the mess hall and walking outside, different types of harassment from the male soldiers, that myself and other females had to deal with. It was a bit unnerving. Of course, being 18 years old, I didn't know how to handle that. So I did talk to my section chief and pretty much was told that it was part of being in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, several months went by, and I was in the barracks, and there was a staff sergeant that invited me to help shine boots. And at that particular point was when I was assaulted.
So, again, brains, she was square as a pool table and just as green. She was 18 years old, wanted to serve her country, wanted to have an honorable position, wanted to do her job. And, catcalling, as a woman, we've all had that done. But sexual assault and to be violated and then not to be heard and not to be seen and saying, oh, this is just a part of the job. No, that's not a part of the job. And then when you speak up, you are ostracized and you are a whistleblower and you are a snitch and you're this, you can't be trusted. Now it's even more difficult because in the military, you are one. You are brothers and sisters. You don't go into combat and leave anyone. I don't care what you do. You're supposed to support one another. But when you have certain individuals that are your adversary and also your boss, that makes for a very, very complicated situation. How did you deal with that? And what was the breaking point? Who finally listened to you?
Sure. Well, um, it was years later when I actually broke the silence. I was quite afraid to say anything because the first time I reported the harassment, wolf whistles, and different harassment within the all, I was told this was just the way that the Army was. So I didn't say anything out of fear of getting in trouble, quite frankly. So it was many years later when after I was out of the military that another female veteran listened to my story, and she told me I need to file a claim, which when I got out, I didn't know anything about claims. I think back in the 80s and 90s, it wasn't as evident to file claims as it is now. So, myself being who I am, after talking with that female veteran, I started filing a claim. And of course, it brought up a lot of um, old feelings, uh, situations that put me back into what I would call my trauma. Um, and during that period of time is when I uh, drove my car and tried to destroy my car and tried to commit suicide.
you know, we have to listen to people. We have to take them seriously. It's just like when children are violated. You have to take them seriously. And then you have to pull back the layers and see if there is something there that is not true. But from the
Yeah.
onset, you have to be heard. Now, it messed with your mental health again over and over again because you're not being paid like you should for your disability. It is a disability. You're not being heard. You're not being supported. You're not getting the proper treatment that you need, be it psychological or physical, whatever it is. And then it affects your benefits
Yes.
long term when you go to retire. Are you going to be able to endure this for 20 years and get your full retirement? Or are you going to have to leave early? Are you going to have to take a medical leave, medical discharge? Are you going to be dishonorably discharged because, you flipped the script?
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
all these things to face, and then you're there by yourself. What do you say to a woman that might be experiencing some of that right now?
Um, I would say to her what that female veteran told me to tell somebody. Tell, try to get in contact with another female veteran. Tell her your story, and you need to get to release it. And at the same time, if you haven't already made a claim to the Veterans Administration, file a claim. It's not just about the money, it's about somebody saying, hear you. And
Accountability.
yeah, accountability. And, we don't always know the right thing to do. That's part of the mental health issue, is because we want to do the right thing, but we're afraid. So I would say reach out to a trusted friend, a trusted female, especially a female veteran who understands the military, because it is a different world than the civilian world.
I
And
tell you, military men right now, there's a code of honor.
yes,
Okay. I don't know what's going on in the world today. We got some sloppy seconds. Okay. I go
yeah,
on the military base and their boots are not shined. Their shirts are not tucked in. They're not walking with their heads up. They're not speaking. I was at a situation. I was having lunch on the Marine Corps base. And I tell you, those young men's mouths were like sewers. Every other word was F this, that, 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 that. I turned around, I looked at that young man. I said, do you kiss your mother with that mouth? Excuse me, ma'am. I said, yes, excuse me. I said, you are a man of honor and dignity. You wear the uniform. You represent the United States of America. And your mouth is so filthy. Oh, it's a habit, ma'am. I said, well, you need to break that habit. And say, and who is your commanding officer? I sure did tell his commanding officer because it's unacceptable. So if they will talk like that, I know that you were afraid to go to sleep at night. Who's going to sneak in here? Who's going to do this? Who's not going to believe me? And that's always rattling around in your mind because there's a trust there. So there's a code of ethics and there is an honor when you put on that uniform. There is a representation there. And so, again, they were probably messing with you because they knew your nickname was Cookie, but you are now standing up to them. You filed the claim, you're going back, and you have developed a wonderful program. Tell us a little bit about that.
sure. So, based on my own experience with trauma, PTSD, and MSD, I have developed a company, I guess you can say. It's called Denver Wellness. And the focus of this is AcuDetox treatments, which is ear acupuncture. So myself, for my own trauma, I've received AcuDetox, and through AcuDetox, it's definitely helped me, along with sound therapy and what I call mindful movement. So I'm incorporating all of those into my treatment along with the AcuDetox to help other veterans and first responders with their own stresses that they have. Now, the program isn't just for veterans and first responders, it's for anybody that has nervous system issues, so to speak. But trauma in particular does affect the nervous system. So the overall treatment focuses on calming the nervous system to a point where your body can relax instead of being in fight or flight. It becomes calmer, which I have experienced myself.
Is it calming or is it numbing? And I'm asking, because sometimes when we numb a situation, it's okay. Are these tools and modalities that you're using something that these first responders, military veterans, abuse or trauma victims, are they able to go into themselves without your assistance and say, hey, this is a tool that I have that I can refer to, that I can help myself if I'm in a stressful situation?
Sure. With the mindful movement, that's a tool that they can use on their own and through my program at Denver Wellness, we incorporate mind breathing, breath work, so that they can use that on their own. Also, in addition, sound therapy. They can listen to certain types of sounds and music, which will help calm them. So that's all part of the treatment, and they can definitely use that in addition to or on their own.
That's beautiful. Sometimes you go through, people have coaching or they'll have therapy or they'll have psychotherapy, whatever, and then they're only feeling safe when they're with their therapist. We want to be able to give them tools that they will be able to carry through a lifetime, like emotional support animals. You know,
Yes.
people, you see them everywhere. People take advantage of that though a little bit too. They love Fluffy, and Fluffy's got to go everywhere with them, and they are an emotional support, but to the degree that you really have an animal there that can support you. You talked about different type of modalities about breathing. The breath is a gift. We do
Hmm.
it on automatic. We think that, we should be able to do that all the time, but it is really calming. It was the first gift that we have. It will be the last gift that we receive when we transition. So being able to syncopate that, to be able to breathe in, breathe out, relax, calm yourself down. Because you also mentioned first responders, and I want to, give a shout out to them too. I had an interview with one of my guests. She was a different type of first responder. She's a psychotherapist that goes in and talks to families after these mass shootings.
Okay.
And and I said, well, what do you say? What do you do? And she said, the
Yeah.
first thing we do is take a breath and hold space.
Yeah.
That's all you can do at
Yeah.
that time. And that trauma is embedded in you. I don't think, me personally, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not even a coach, but I'm just thinking from my life experience on this planet, is that you never really get over it, but you understand how to get with it. You understand how to not let it trigger you. Are you at a point in your personal life that you're not as triggered as easily?
Yes. Well, through my own experiences with the VA therapy, I've learned to become a lot more aware of my triggers. And also, with that being said, I've had specific training in breath work. I'm also a certified yoga instructor, so I take that training along with the therapy and other resources that I have from the VA to use for myself. So I think becoming aware of your triggers and using the breath work to help calm the nervous system is definitely essential.
And I'm going to tell you, Some of you ladies may like what I'm going to say, some of you may take issue with it. But we are a different beast, and we do require a special, tender, loving care. And from my experience, again, I can't speak to this because my husband was the veteran, but I was the spouse. Women, they need a little extra TLC. There needs to be support groups that deal specifically with female issues of sexual assault. Now, I'm not going to say the men don't get sexually assaulted, because they do. And just think about the women that don't talk about the sexual assault that happens when they're captured or they're in combat. Okay. Or if that person is your first report, the person that you have to respond to, what are you going to do? And then you're a mother, and then you are a wife, and you want to shield this information from your spouse because you don't want them to go postal, or you don't want it to hinder the loving relationship because things run through people's mind. Well, was she really assaulted, or was she flirting, or was she lonely? Or there's a lot of what ifs that come up. Now, you're married also, right?
Well, I got married while I was in the Army to another veteran. I am no longer married, but yes, I was married to a veteran.
Did that impact your marriage?
Did that impact? Yes, it did. It impacted my marriage very much so. It has impacted my whole life and how I look at people and things. For example, I have a very I'm trusting people. I suffer from hypervigilance, and unless you've experienced trauma, it's hard to explain that particular, those symptoms to somebody else.
Right. Because again, it could be a sight, it could be a smell, it could be a sound. You use those things to combat what's going on, but those things can also be very triggering for other individuals.
Yes.
I was in the commissary, and there was a young man that had come through, and he had a PTSD experience. He was back in Afghanistan in the war at the time when the IUD went off, and he lost his leg. But he was physically in the commissary with us. And it was the most heart wrenching thing. He started to sweat. He started to pant. His eyes were rolling around. He was flittering. I mean, he was really having an episode there. So I can only imagine another individual that had to suppress that, and they got him out. They got him okay. They took him and they calmed him down. But he's got to live with that. And then he has to look down at his body and sees where he's lost, you know, part of his body because of what has happened.
Yeah.
It's never going away. All these wonderful things that you're doing with the movement, with the sound, with the yoga, what has the response been? Are people gravitating to this?
Yes, people are gravitating to it. Of course, there's some education that I have to bring about.
That's what
Uh,
we're doing right here on the edge. We're bringing it to them.
yeah, yeah. Well, with AcuDetox, it definitely calms the nervous system. It's amazing what this ear acupuncture can actually do for people suffering from trauma and, quite frankly, other nervous system issues. And yeah, people are gravitating towards it. And
Now, is this a
looking forward.
Chinese medicine modality? Because I know that I'm very into the hands and the feet as far as reflexology, but
Yeah.
I noticed as I've been learning that the ear has so many pressure points that
Yes.
are intricate to the body, how you can just uncurl your ear and things will happen. Pressing behind the ear will calm you down. How did you pick up that particular modality?
Sure. Well, like I said earlier, in my own trauma experience and looking for healing modalities, somebody offered me AcuDetox.
Mm.
And what AcuDetox actually is there's 5 points in the ear, in particular, 5 points that are used in this type of acupuncture. These 5 points pinpoint certain areas in our body that take us out of the fight or flight uh, symptoms that we have, where we can be then function with the sympathetic system, which is a more calming effect on the body. But somebody offered that to me. I've used AcuDetox several times and continue to use it.
That's beautiful because acupuncture, I'm a big fan of it. Absolutely. I've had it done, for different parts of my body. I've never had it done in my ear, but a lot of people get it done in their ear for weight loss too.
Yeah,
So there's certain pressure points that the creator gave us that we
yeah.
need to utilize. And I think that connecting with Lorna would be absolutely amazing, just to have the conversation, to see what it is. Somebody turned her onto it. So go in, take a look, definitely look at Denver Wellness, the entire community, because she is not just supporting, now you're supporting men and women, but primarily women.
I'm supporting both men and women and veterans, non-veterans. And you're right, it can be used for multiple uses, not just trauma. I actually have a friend that was in a car accident years ago. She was talking to me about AcuDetox, how she used it after the car accident to calm her nervous system. So it can be used for, like you have mentioned, weight loss. It can be used in early recovery to help extinguish the cravings that many have in early recovery. It's also been used for to help quit smoking cigarettes. So there's multiple modalities, and of course, just seeing the mindful movement and the sound therapy in between sessions definitely helps. It's not a therapy that you have to talk about. You don't have to talk to me about it. You're sitting calmly while you're experiencing AcuDetox. So, but then after the needles are taken out, you should be able to feel some relief. As said, that it's Chinese medicine, it's acupuncture. So it removes the blockages in your body that may cause the cravings, that may cause the nervous system upset. And it is a beautiful way, natural, to help yourself overcome some of the obstacles that you may have.
Right. And it is also a way to increase your blood flow. And
Yes,
by increasing your blood flow and your circulation, that is purification, that's restoration.
yes,
That is
yes,
definitely what we need to do, is we need to restore and renew, but also honor and be silent in
yes,
certain situations. Learn that there is a lesson in everything, good, bad, or
yeah,
indifferent. There is something for us to learn, and there is wisdom. Look at Lorna right now. She has not only went through this and still going through some of it, but she's able to pour into other individuals as a release and as a way of support. So I want you to really take that seriously, that you're everything happens for a reason.
yes.
And
I
so
truly
I'm a firm,
believe that.
absolutely. And so how is this being received by the VA? Have you walked in there and said, hey, this is a proposal, this is a modality that I think that you need to include in our benefit packets? What are they saying to you?
Well, I haven't done that just yet. And
What?
that's
I might have to come to Colorado and get on my my soapbox and do that with you, because again, we're looking for alternatives. I don't need you
yes,
to poke and probe and cut. I don't need you to get me addicted to some other sort of substance
yeah,
that my benefits are not going to cover, or I'm going to end up drinking or drugging and then hurt people. It's going to escalate from one thing to another. We need
yeah,
to go in there and we need to talk to them about that. We're going to put that on our vision board,
yeah,
because it it minimal preventative is what the Chinese do.
yes,
They pay the doctor because they don't go, you know, and that's what we want to do, is we want to have prevention. And the military hospitals are really short staffed. The resources and the finances are being cut, and it's really a challenge. So if you can give someone an option that is alternative, that is ancient but
yeah,
also very futuristic,
yeah.
I think that that's a beautiful thing to do. So, Lorna, we've done the heavy lifting. Let's ask you some fun questions.
Okay.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen of all places, what appliance would you be and why?
Oh gosh. Um, um, I guess I would be the refrigerator because then I could see everything. Um, what's in the well, a lot of what's in the kitchen. Yeah, and a lot of what the people are going to eat.
I think that I would probably, because I like to change from day to day, I might be the blender,
Okay.
because I like to put things together and mix them up. You start one thing and then you end up with something else, and it's smooth and it's creamy and it's all mixed together. I'll be the blender today. If you were a
Okay.
flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
I would be a sunflower. I like the sun. And they're nice. Sunflowers are nice and tall, and they're very like happy flowers, I think.
And that fits you perfectly because they're durable, they're
Yeah,
sustainable, they provide a bounty because they provide a food substance, and they're bright and they close down when they need to close down, but then they also spring up. I could see you being the sunflower. If
yeah.
you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
Um, I think I would be a Toyota 4Runner.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay. All right.
yeah. Because the Toyota 4Runner can go on the road, but it can go on dirt, hill, maybe some mountains. It can go all over. It can go in the water.
Okay.
So it could travel.
If you had to pick between vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate, which one would you pick?
Probably chocolate.
So many people love chocolate. I'm into the strawberry. I like the strawberry. If you could have a conversation with yourself at 25 years old, knowing what you know now, what would you say to yourself, Cookie?
Oh God. Yourself, be true to yourself. Um, be faithful to yourself. Yeah,
Believe and trust in yourself. At the end of the day, brains, that's all that we have is self.
yeah.
What would you say to a young man or woman that is in this situation, being if they're assaulted on the job, or they're being victimized in their home, or they're part of the military? What would you say to them to encourage them?
Sure. Well, I would, first off, I would say you're not alone. There's not just myself out there, but other people that have experienced the same thing, and other people, even if they haven't experienced it, that care.
Mm.
And say, tell somebody that you trust about your experience. But most of all, know that you're not alone and you don't have to do this alone.
That's right. And that there are options. I know that we feel that there's nobody there, but life is worth living. To stand back and reflect upon it and be the testimony of how you've overcome and adapt, just like you would in the military. You can do that with life. So if you
Yeah,
ever feel that you are at a bad place, there are great programs through the VA, hotlines, and other support groups to let you know that you're not alone.
yeah.
Thank you for all of that and then some, Cookie.
Thank you.
So tell my brains how to get in contact with you, how to support you. If there's women veteran out there that need help and finding out how to file a claim, how do they get in contact with you, Lorna?
Sure, sure. So I am in the metro area. You can look my website up at www.denver-wellness.org. Also, you can reach out to me directly at my email, which is denverwellnesscommunity@gmail.com. I'll be able to answer any questions for anybody that they have throughout the country, and try to, help put you in touch with somebody that can assist you where you're at.
And again, that's meeting the rubber where the rubber meets the road. She's there to meet you and support you where you're at. She's not asking for you to come, dressed up all pretty and a pretty package. She will
Yeah,
take you raw and vulnerable. She understands. She will respect you. She will honor you. That's the word of the day, brains. Honor. Look in the mirror. The mirror is not just for a reflection, it's also a place to make corrections. Thank you so much for being on the show with us, Lorna. I think that you are wonderful. I think that you are brave. Again, I thank you for your service. Brains, do me a service. Go in and love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe to me and Lorna. Support our military veterans. They are sacrificing their limbs, their life, their honor, they're separating from their families, all to protect us. The cowardly people, I'll call myself a coward because I told you I don't have the courage, but they are doing that. And I want to thank you so much for that. Have a good day.